As Spartan Davis continued fighting on the moon, Spartan Palmer and a handful of UNSC troops redeployed to the surface of Draetheus-V to fend off the invaders there. Outmanned? Outgunned? Spartan Palmer didn't see it as a problem. How about you?
What's up, this is Nak3d Eli, the mostly unclothed gamer. Hope you enjoyed that little cutscene to start for Operation Tempered Shield. Here we are with our Gold Star guide for missions B-1 through B-5. So as we did with A, we will start off with the narrative for the mission. This mission is called the Siege of Faraday. Although Spartan Palmer was successful in warning Draetheus-V of the coming attack, the Covenant assault hit the colony's defenses like a tidal wave. Draetheus-V's main outpost, Faraday Base, was located on the border of an expanse of dense vegetation to the north and an enormous rock plateau to the south. When the Covenant invasion force eventually arrived, the first defense lines surrounding Faraday were quickly breached before the base's sentry turrets were fully operational. Palmer took to the field and almost single-handedly held off the waves of Ungoy suicide units crashing down on the thick concrete wall behind the defense lines. So as you can see, you're Spartan Palmer here, the same chick from Spartan Ops in Halo 4, the one who's really angry all the time and wanted to kill the doctor who made Cortana, Dr. Halsey, and so we're going to get a little bit more of insight into her background throughout the course of this game. Now let me talk briefly about this mission in particular. B-1 is notorious for being the mission at E3, which was used in the tournament. Essentially, whoever got the high score on this throughout the day was able to win a Windows Surface Pro tablet, and then second and third place would take home Nokia Lumia 928s. So I was luckily invited to the Halo party that night, and they had a similar smaller style tournament there that I actually wound up winning, and that's the reason that I'm able to bring this content to you guys, is because I have a Windows tablet that I could play Spartan Assault on. All that I had to do was figure out how to capture it, which was a pain in the butt, but here we have it. So how am I getting a gold star on this mission? It's actually a relatively simple mission as long as you chain the kills together. Suicide grunts go down in very few assault rifle kills, hits, like 3 to 4, and then the silver Ungoy take a few more shots, but they go down pretty quickly as well. What you want to do is you want to get an easy kill on a suicide grunt and then chain that with one of the silvers or with one of the elites. Try not to let them crash into the walls, obviously, like I am missing a few of them. This is by far not a perfect run. What I did, as you would see if you notice the strategy, was I started with the assault rifle ammo in the middle, moved up forward, and then slowly made my way to the right side to get the ammo, because you do run out of assault rifle ammo relatively quickly. And just try to chain the killing air as much as possible. You can get a score on this of up to like 270,000, I think was the E3 high score. So right here for the gold star, it's very, very doable. So that's the first mission. Let's move on to B2. Reactor Field Relief is the name of this mission. UNSC technicians had built numerous magnetic reactor stations across Draetheus-V. The western reactor field was one of the largest of these stations and was of great interest to the Covenant. Luckily, the trench-like layout of the reactor field provided the Marines stationed there with a terrain advantage, and Covenant infantry platoons had significant difficulty in seizing the station. After supporting the Marines at Faraday, Spartan Palmer moved to provide support in the western reactor field. Palmer's prime objectives were to protect several squads of Wolverines and halt the Banshees, providing air support to the Covenant infantry. So if you played Halo Wars, you know that Wolverines are anti-air. Essentially, they target those Banshees flying across the screen. Unfortunately, you never get to kill those things yourself. I wish there was some form of flying in a Hornet or some space battle. I think we've all been asking for that in Halo forever, since a lot of the content and the narratives and the books is based around space combat, and that's only very briefly explored in Halo Reach with the Saber program. You know, you never get to fight like Pelican. I guess, yeah, in Halo 4 you did get to fight in a Pelican versus some Phantoms, but there's nothing on the higher level, no super carrier battles, nothing along those lines of extreme warfare like we saw when Reach was taken down by the thousands of Covenant ships. You know, we didn't get to fight that battle, for example. So anyways, back to the gameplay. This corner is very, very easy to chain kills. The enemies are not coming from multiple directions, so all you have to do is keep an eye on your ammo. Of course, the assault rifle is the best way to take out both elites and the grunts, since it takes out the elite shields very quickly, unlike the SMGs. So it's the first time we're getting to see the SMGs. They are beastly against grunts, but they have very limited range and limited effect on shields, just as you'd expect, just as we saw with the SMGs in Halo 2 and Halo 3. They're designed to kill, not to rip off shields. And then the assault rifle is just a beast, so that doesn't count with the theory, because Master Chief with an assault rifle in the books, he like two-shots everything. It's just the most powerful weapon in the universe, evidently, when Master Chief wields it. But so right here we're looking at Spartan Palmer, right? And this is a game. This is just a simulation that some students are playing, and you're getting some history details on Spartan Palmer, who essentially saves a ton of lives and halts the Covenant assault on Draetheus-V's moon, and completely destroys in the Battle of Draetheus-V. Like, she saves so many more humans than they thought were possible, and there's a lot of really cool story coming up that I don't want to ruin for you guys, but right now we're just getting started. We're finally on the planet and trying to establish ourselves, halt the Covenant advance, and then there's going to be, some big plot points coming up pretty soon. So now we're at the final section with these 3 Wolverines, and you have to keep not all of them alive. I think you can actually lose 2 of them and still win the mission, as long as you don't lose all 3, which is nearly impossible. Like, you'd have to be a vegetable not paying attention to these kills to allow that to happen. So use the SMGs to clean up the grunts, and then if you have other ammo, there's sometimes crates around for shotguns and assault rifles. You can look for those, and you can portion your ammo, like use the ARs only on the elites and then use the SMGs only on grunts. But that requires a really fine switch, a fine tuning of your weapon usage. So honestly, the SMGs are fine. You don't have to get a perfect chain kill going to get the gold star on this. It's relatively easy as long as you just stick by these walls and don't let them kill you. The SMG, like I said, is going to tear through multiple enemies, so it won't blow up just the first grunt in front of you. It will immediately shred the second, third, and fourth grunt coming out of that wall. So make sure you just keep your ammo up, and as long as you do that, keep chaining that Killionaire. Use grenades if you think you're going to miss a chain because maybe they're hiding behind a structure or you won't be able to get there in time. Frags or incendiary grenades are better for that because they detonate the enemy on impact, whereas the plasma grenades do, just like in normal Halo, take time to detonate, and sometimes that'll make you lose your spree. The spree counter being 4 seconds, just like in every other Halo game. You have 4 seconds between your double kill, your triple kill, etc. I think they switched that up in Halo 4 though, right? They added like 0.25 seconds or something like that. So if you look at that score, we completely annihilated this mission. Just the gold star, piece of cake, 200,000, no big deal. So B3, the next mission, is going to be the first, I would say, actual difficult mission to get a gold star on. So I'll explain that strategy, but first, the narrative. This is called Hunt for the Sangheili Command. Sangheili is obviously the elites. After Faraday Base's defenses were stabilized, Spartan Palmer began trying to establish the location of the Covenant officers leading the invasion. After taking significant losses, Marines of the 21st Scout Platoon had managed to uncover a set of promising coordinates. These commanders' locations were well hidden by Draetheus-V's unique magnetic signatures. Without Palmer, the officers might have remained hidden for days. She found them within 30 minutes. So she's basically a badass. She's going to come in here, find all 5 or 6 of the commanding gold officers, and just completely destroy them. So what I learned here is that you have to use your shotgun ammo to chain the kills in this section. It's the most efficient use of your ammo, and it's also the most efficient use of the space. Notice how it's a very close quarter situation, and so you're going to get these insta kills around corners. Unlike when you're trying to use, let's say, the assault rifle at close range, you often miss your shots, it leads to other targets, or they're just up in your face and it's really hard to hit them. So the shotgun is great for this whole section and taking out these 2 gold commanders. Now, this mission's also huge, very wide open, expansive space. So this is the route that I recommend to take for gold. You have to be extremely quick and chain the kills just like I do in order to get the gold star. I did this mission a lot, and so this was what I found was the best way to move northeast, clear those camps up here, and then move down here. You'll find a couple hidden jackals. These are essentially extra points for us because it's going to be very close for that gold star. So come down here, take out the jackals. You can punch them, you can use your assault rifle, but you're going to be running low on ammo. So you're going to want to start to pick up the needlers that they drop on the ground, and you should also have a ton of plasmas just running around picking those up. There's also some crates around that you can get extra plasmas if need be. So now the needler works really well against jackals. In fact, once you load them up, even if they have their shields out, they're going to blow up. So this isn't just like in normal Halo, right? Except that the needles in normal Halo do not kill jackals that well. They actually bounce off the grenades. So this is something that you could consider to be somewhat of an inconsistency, whether it's just for the purposes of this top-down shooter. Right there, almost got blown up by a suicide grunt. But you know what I'm saying, right? That the Spartan Assault behaves slightly differently in some ways, and I'll try to point those out when it happens. One of them obviously being you don't need to reload any of your weapons in this game because it's just a fun isometric shooter, just a top-down, third person, having a fun time, learning about the history of the Spartan 4 program. In fact, I think this is one of the first, if not the first, Spartan 4 Spartan Ops mission. Not Spartan Ops like Halo 4, but like after they made the Spartan 4 program, this was the actual first time that they used Spartan 4s, or at least that's what Halopedia said, so I'm going to trust Halopedia on that. So right here, I cleared out the other camps on the northwest after moving through all the jackals on the north and trying to just kill every single enemy in the mission and trying to chain them together as much as possible, saving a bunch of plasmas for that fuel rod turret right here. And now there's going to be like 6 grunt miners that you just shoot their brains off, and then you're going to rush over to the end of the mission and pray that you got enough for the time bonus to actually get you the gold star. I think it's going to be really, really close. About to find out in just a few seconds. Got to wait for the mission accomplished. I guess it's loading up our stats. It's saying, okay, I know you want to see. Did you get it? Did you get it? And now it will tally. So the kill score and the medal score is what you see in game, and then you never know what the time bonus is going to be. So there we go, just barely getting ahead of that gold star, and that's the best I could do on that mission. So I hope that that strategy that I employed works for you guys as well. Alright, moving on to mission B-4, the battle for Epsilon Expanse. 9 lofty bridges spanning an enormous gorge called the Epsilon Expanse allowed for access to the southern plateau where the majority of Covenant landing zones were located. The Covenant quickly secured these bridges and held UNSC forces at bay with heavy artillery. Spartan Palmer escorted the 23rd Armored Cavalry to the Epsilon Expanse, but the Scorpion tanks would not survive the guaranteed heavy artillery fire. Taking a small team of Marines across one of the bridges, Palmer managed to infiltrate the Covenant camps and destroy several artillery turrets, giving the Scorpions the chance to advance and launch a counteroffensive. So this reminds me of Tip of the Spear, where we had to go in and destroy the anti-air guns, these gigantic turrets that could take out huge UNSC ships, and that would allow you to have a counteroffensive using your own air, right? So that they can't just dominate the sky with their Banshees and Phantoms. We're going to bring in some Hornets and Pelicans and kick some ass. So right here, I'm just going to move my way across the bridge very, very quickly, use the race as much as possible to get kills because you have infinite ammo, and it's really easy to just double tap while you're shooting enemies in front of you. You can both blow up things in the background and kill enemies in front of you. So that's going to clear out this whole section, and already we're at the first anti-air gun turret. We're going to put you just go up and press the action button. That puts a charge on it that it's going to blow that thing up. Then we're going to come over here, just nade the heck out of every single enemy, and then try and chain these kills together as much as possible. Eventually, we're going to run out of the chain just to put on this charge. Sometimes there's a little elite back here, so we're going to blow him up, and then we're going to move in, finish the objectives, and then all we have to do is come down the right side, clean up some more kills, get some more points, and then if you do it quickly enough, you'll get a nice fat time bonus. And also, if you're chaining these kills together really well, then it's just essentially a pretty easy gold star. So this strategy seemed to work out for me pretty well. Had a near perfect run until I wanted to pick up the sprint. And then I was like, no, don't get in the turret. I just want the sprint. And so now I have the sprint. It takes a couple seconds to charge up. And then we're going to fly to the end. Whee! All the way to the end of the mission. And now we get to play in some Scorpion tanks, which is very, very fun. As always, tanks beat everything. So we'll see the final score tallied up, see how close we were to the gold star. Didn't even need the time bonus, so boom, there you go. Chain those kills together and you should get that pretty nicely. Now, finally, B-5, the battle at Red Slate. With the Covenant's southern forces exposed, Spartan Palmer and the 23rd Armored Cavalry's massive column of Scorpions and Grizzlies rushed across the Red Slate Plateau on a collision course with several Covenant tank battalions. Only a UNSC counteroffensive would prevent Faraday from being crushed between the northern and southern front. The 23rd had brought 86 vehicles to Draetheus-V. After the battle at Red Slate, there were only 8 functioning vehicles left. So essentially, we killed a lot of Covenant, Covenant killed a lot of us, and we've only got 8 little vehicles left. But I don't care. I'm in a Scorpion tank. I'm just going to have fun going around, blowing up as many ghosts and wraiths as possible to get a great multiplier and just get tons of points. So what you need to get the points is not just to shoot at them until the elite jumps out of whether it's the ghost or the wraith. You need to actually blow the vehicle up for the points. And that's all you're really looking to do. Sometimes, kill the elite and you'll get the double kill, you'll get some extra points off that. But you're really just trying to target as many vehicles as humanly possible because that's where the huge points on this vehicle-centered mission come from. There's also several new fresh Scorpions just lying around. Evidently, I guess the UNSC felt it wasn't important to have Marines driving those around or other Spartan 4s, or maybe they were limited in that capacity. But instead, they're like, here, Spartan, Palmer, Davis, whoever, I think this is still Palmer. They're like, you can have this tank here, and if your tank gets weak, you can take this other tank that's over here by these other wraiths and this other Covenant camp, and then if that one dies, you can go to this Covenant camp where we've put another free Scorpion tank down for you, So, doesn't really make much sense logically, but that's how the game plays. It makes sense for the, I guess, simulation, since these are just new, fresh rookies trying to learn the history and playing a video game, so why not? Just completely make up new rules and whatever. I would give them tough love. I'd be like, 1 tank, 30% health, go kill 7 wraiths and all the ghosts on the field. That's how you make a good soldier. I don't believe in any of this free tank stuff, whatever. So we have a normal tank right now. We'll see later in the game that some Grizzlies are going to show up, for those of you familiar with Halo Wars as well, some of the more hardcore fans. Grizzlies are super tanks with like double turrets and are just completely awesome. And also, I guess I should explain the tank mechanics, because the direction that you point, just like where you're normally shooting, that's what determines where the standard tank gun shoots. And then just as with the Wraith, to target the cannon, you double tap or click one of the buttons on the bottom right. So for me, I just like double tapping a bunch, getting real low in this tank, because I just want to finish the mission, and that's my philosophy. Like I told you, 1 tank, none of these freebies. We're going to do it in man mode. And then finally, once we clean up all of the tanks, ghosts, and Covenant in the perimeter, we're going to move in for the final kill on this final Wraith. Challenge complete. I think that's just to blow up a bunch of things with your tank, which is pretty easy to do when you're on a tank mission. And then cleaning up these final enemies when a tank moves in. I'm like, oh god, if he hits me with 1 Wraith Blast, this is going to be really close. Oh god, here comes the Wraith Blast! And I killed it with like, I don't even know what percent that is, 5% health left. Mission accomplished. That is missions B1 through B5, Operation Tempered Shield. Hope you guys have enjoyed this Gold Star guide and just the narrative in general. Next up, we're going to have Spartan Assault missions C1 through C5 on the left. That'll be uploaded soon. And if you haven't seen A1 through A5, check out the video on the right. This was Nak3d Eli. Subscribe for more, and thank you so much for watching.